So chapter 5 is all about how cells grow and reproduce. We only go over the first 2 sections of chapter 5, which is why we have enough time to go over them before the end of the semester. So we're just going to do it. So, essential question, how do cells grow and reproduce? Cells go through cycles that have distinct phases of growth, reproduction, and normal functions. And that is just a GIF of the cell cycle happening over and over again. Happens in every single one of your body cells. You need new skin cells, you scrape your arm, you need to grow new skin cells. This is what happens. All of your cells go through this process all of the time. They're in one of these phases right now. So the cell cycle has 4 stages. G1, S, G2, and M. The G's stand for growth. So G1, the cell grows and just performs its normal functions, whatever that function may be. Skin cell has a different function than a stomach cell than a heart cell, but all cells go through this process. During the G1 stage, it does what it does. During the S stage, DNA is copied. That is a process also known as DNA synthesis, which is where the S comes from. We will have an entire chapter dedicated to DNA synthesis next semester. G2, the cell grows a little bit more. And prepares for the next stage, which is M. M stands for mitosis, and that is when the cell actually divides. So M includes both the division of the nucleus, which is the process of mitosis, which is what next week's section will be about, and the division of the cytoplasm, called cytokinesis. Remember way back in chapter 2, the prefix cyto means cell, and kinesis means to split, so that's the actual splitting of the cell. Now the next couple of slides are informational. Put your pencil down for a second and listen. Cancer. I'm just telling you about it. This is not something you have to write down, which is why it says in big red letters at the top, don't write this down. But each of these 4 stages has checkpoints to make sure the cell cycle is processing correctly. One of your assignments next week, you'll be discovering these checkpoints. But if the cycle is not processed correctly, the cell is supposed to go into a resting state or die. If your cells aren't functioning properly, they self-destruct. That process is called apoptosis. And it is now a mutant cell. If a mutant cell ignores the death signal and keeps dividing, that is when a tumor forms. And if the cells of that tumor get into the bloodstream and travel to other places in the body, it's called metastasis. And that is technically what cancer is. So I always get from your discussion, which is why I want you to do it first, that you're not quite sure what cancer is. But this is all cancer is. It's a disease of the cell cycle. Treatments. A lot of people don't know about treatments. Again, not something you have to write down, just something I like to inform you about when we talk about the cell cycle. So sometimes people have surgery to remove wherever the tumor is, but sometimes it's not always operable. It's in a place where if you cut into it, you're going to cut other important things, so you can't cut it out. Chemotherapy, which is what chemo is for short, stands for basically using chemicals as therapy. And radiation is the most common. They target all rapidly growing cells in the body, not just the cancer cells, But hair follicles happen to be rapidly growing cells in your body. So those are collateral damage. That's why a lot of the time people going through chemotherapy and radiation also lose their hair. Bone marrow transplants for certain types of cancer are a thing. Leukemia, certain types of leukemia can be treated with bone marrow transplants. And we never say somebody is cured of cancer. We say they go into remission because it can always come back, unfortunately. All right, back to the notes. 2 more slides. Like I said, these slides are pretty short. But cells divide at different rates. So there are also different rates of cancer among different types of tissues and cells in your body because some divide very quickly on principle, some divide very slowly. The rate at which your cells divide is linked to your body's need for those cells. The rate of cell division is greater in embryos because they have to grow cells constantly because they're not a fully functioning human yet. It's also faster in children because same, children are growing, they're getting taller, they're getting thicker, they're growing new stuff. The rate also varies among organs. You shed your skin cells very, very quickly. So a skin cell only lives for about 2 weeks before you need more. Your intestines, on the other hand, your intestinal cells last about 16 years. You don't go through intestinal cells as quickly as you shed your skin. So they don't need to divide as quickly. And cell size is limited. If cells were too small, they couldn't contain all the necessary organelles. But if they were too large, vital functions such as nutrient transport might slow down and couldn't keep the cell alive. So cells always have to coordinate how big they get. If they get too big, it's time to divide and split in half. So to maintain the right cell size, growth and division must be coordinated.